Democrats may be united in opposing President Trump, but last night they couldn't unify around a single message to respond to his State of the Union address. There were no fewer than 5 Democratic responses. One of those speakers, Bernie Sanders, the independent senator from the state of Vermont and the former Democratic presidential candidate. Senator Sanders, welcome back to the NewsHour. Thank you for being here. I was going to start with the State of the Union, but I do want to first bring up this story that we are paying attention to tonight, this dispute that's broken out into the open between the White House and the Department of Justice, the FBI, over whether to release this confidential classified memo. What are your thoughts about the issues that are raised by this?
Well, first of all,
go ahead.
First of all, let's understand this confidential memo was written by Republican staffers. That's who wrote it. And what the FBI and the intelligence agencies are concerned about is the revelation of information that at this point should not be made public. And what the FBI and many Americans are really wondering about is how does it happen that you have a Republican Party which for so many years defended law enforcement, defended the intelligence agencies, are now turning against them. And this gets you back to the Mueller investigation and the idea of disparaging Mr. Mueller, who has had widespread bipartisan support for the work he did as FBI director. But now that he's looking at the possibility of Trump's campaign colluding with the Russians, suddenly they are trying to really denigrate this man. So I think that's what this is about, very political.
Excuse me. What we understand is at the core of this memo, though, is whether the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act courts, the FISA courts, and the Department of Justice may have been used in a political way to help one party over another in 2016. Do you think it's possible that that happened?
I think, well, first of all, they, as I understand it, have chosen not to release the House memo, which deals with this issue as well. So the only memo that's being released is the Republican memo. Bottom line is, Mueller is doing an independent investigation, and Republicans in the House are doing everything they can to obstruct that investigation.
Well, let me turn you. So, in other words, you're not commenting on whether it's possible that happened, whether there was some political use.
Well, I am not a great fan of. I voted against a lot of the intelligence, the FISA efforts, because I think, as a nation, we are invading people's privacy to a significant degree. Both government and the corporate world. But I would say that what the Republicans are doing is 100% political at this moment.
All right, Senator, let's talk about the State of the Union. There were several points in the speech last night where the president said, I want to reach across the aisle. I want to work with Democrats on whether it's the economy, immigration, infrastructure. Do you see potential areas of common ground where you can work with the president?
Well, I would hope so. I would hope so. But let's understand that when we talk about immigration, it is the president himself who precipitated this DACA crisis by revoking Obama's executive order on DACA in September. And where we are now is a situation where 80%, according to poll after poll, 80% or more of the American people say we have got to provide legal status to these 800,000 dreamers and a path toward citizenship. Now, the good news is that in the House, there is majority support now. I think you have something like 30 Republicans joining almost all Democrats in support of a Dreamers Act. You have majority support now in the Senate. My guess is 55, 56 people in the Senate who support a Dreamers Act. Now, the question is whether the leadership will come together in the House and the Senate and allow us to go forward to do the right thing, the moral thing, and make sure that these young people do not lose their legal status.
But do you think it's likely that there will be some agreement?
I would hope so. I think if we're at 56 or 57 votes in the Senate right now, I think we can get 3 or 4 more. And I would hope that Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan will allow us to go forward and protect these young people.
So, Senator, you gave a response to the president last night, live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. At the same time, the, quote, unofficial Democratic Party response.
Not true. We
came
gave it after the Democratic response.
after the
Joe
demo. I'm
Kennedy-
sorry. It
Joe
was
Kennedy
after.
did a fine job, and we did it after he did it.
Well, what I want to ask you is, among other things, it was Congressman Kennedy who made the response. I mean, he talked about a better deal for all who call this country home. He talked about Democrats supporting a higher minimum wage, paid leave for employees, affordable child care, and so on. How does his message differ from yours, which was described as a progressive Democratic
Well, his
agenda?
message is fine, so I'm not here to argue with Congressman Kennedy, who I think gave a very good speech. The theme of my remarks is to suggest that this country is moving very rapidly into an oligarchic form of society where we have massive levels of income and wealth inequality. Recently, I'm sure you saw that the Koch brothers and their billionaire allies have now suggested they're now planning to spend $400 million in the 2018 elections. So you got a handful of billionaires who have enormous influence over the economic and political life of this country. In my view, the Democratic Party needs to be active in organizing at the grassroots effort, and some of us are working very hard on that. A mass movement to demand that we have a government that represents the middle class, working people, and not just the 1%. And that includes doing what every other major country on earth does, providing health care to all, in my view, through a Medicare for all single-payer program. It means transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. It means raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, pay equity for women. It means rebuilding the infrastructure, not in the way that Trump is proposing, which is calling for states to do a lot of privatization of their roads and their water systems, but a real investment in our infrastructure to create up to 15 million jobs.
But Senator,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, is it a problem for Democrats, though, that you had several different messages? There was Congressman Kennedy's, there was yours, there was a
No, I don't think it's a
response, so-called moderate Democratic response from
I don't think
Congress.
it's a response at all. I think right now there is massive revulsion, if I may use that word, against Donald Trump for his divisiveness, for his dishonesty, for his bigotry. And different people are approaching how you deal with Trump and how you bring America forward in different ways. And the truth is that different voices bring in different respondents, people who have different perspectives. But the goal right now is to rally the American people around a progressive agenda. All of the ideas that I'm talking about, making public colleges and universities tuition free, instead of giving massive tax breaks to the billionaires and large corporations, as Trump has done. Most Americans think we need to ask the billionaire class to start paying more in taxes, not less.
How soon do Democrats need to get together and have a unified message?
Well, right now, I mean, again, what most of these polls suggest is that the Democrats are doing quite well. If you look at November 7th, Democrats did very well in New Jersey and Virginia. They won a huge upset in Alabama. We're winning at local levels. So I think the momentum is with us. The problem that we have, Judy, is taking on the Koch brothers, the second wealthiest family in this country, and other billionaires who are going to pour huge amounts of money into the election of 2018.
Senator Bernie Sanders, it is always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.